Hey, and good Halloween month we are in, and welcome to the delicious recipe. This one's called Cryptid Pizza. I have my other half on here. Say hello, Laura Lee.
Hello, Laura.
There we go. Okay, I'm just trying to find us where we are here on UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials, and
Do you want me to talk while you're looking?
yeah, I'm just go along there. It's just tell them where they can find you
I
there.
will. I'm the host, a host here on UPRN. We have many great hosts here on this wonderful network that is broadcast to you out of New Orleans, Louisiana, 105.3 out of New Orleans. And we are broadcast in practically every country. So anywhere you can find talk radio or podcast, you can find us. You can find my show Monday nights here on UPRN from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I will be here next week with my guest. I have not looked at my schedule, but it'll be somebody fun and exciting, as we always have people like this. And yeah, I think that's everything. Oh, one thing I will remind you, if you're going to join the conversation, we'd love to have you join in. If you want to watch the show as well, and we'll see your comments, if you go to either the UFO Paranormal Radio Network Facebook page or the YouTube channel, those seem to be the only places we can see the comments. So, did you find us?
Well, yeah, it's showing up here there, but maybe there might be a problem with there because it's showing that we're live on UFO Paranormal Radio on YouTube, but we're also on the Delicious Recipe off of Facebook and off of
Mhm.
your Facebook too as
Yeah,
well.
my personal Facebook channel under Laura Lee Potvin too. We're on LinkedIn under Joe Montaldo, who owns a network. I want to give him a huge shout out. He's got great shows here on the network. He's
Hmm.
got UFO Undercover on Wednesday nights. He's got The Centralist. He does Friday night with the boys, like a panel format. He does the
Oh,
Gray
there it
Zone
goes.
Uncensored with the wonderful and amazing Michelle DeRoche, who will be on later on this evening with the second of her 2 nights a week with her co-host Emilio Pisano. So stay tuned for that a little bit later.
Yes, exactly. So, because it's Halloween month here at UPRN, um, which ends up being like I said, this was called Cryptid Pizza. So shapeshifters, little people, Bigfoot, UFOs, uh, anything, Loch Ness monster. Like, cause actually we did a show about
Dogman,
dog,
werewolves,
dogmen. Yes,
vampires.
yes, exactly. Vampires, everything. We did a show about this, I think, about 3 years ago, and I guess we sort of lost that one there when
We
that
lost
other
our big channel, our main channel.
yeah main channel went down there. So this is sort of almost like a rehashing of stuff like that, anyways, of stuff that was going around, and we have different things that people always talk about. They talk about Bigfoot in the bush, little people, fairies, goblins, ghouls, and vampires, like you said there, Loch Ness monster, and
Hellhounds, dogmen,
hellhounds. Yes. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of interesting stuff you can find out
demons.
on. A lot of interesting stuff you can find out there. Yes, and well, yeah, we well that one channel that we've was mentioned quite a bit. There was that Nukes Top Five and
Mhm.
weird goings on that happened there.
I have
So,
since found out, I'm going to share, but he never tells you what to think. That's why I like it.
yep.
That some of the stuff he has featured has indeed been, the person has come out and said they faked it. And that drives me insane when people fake things, because you know what? It's hard enough for people to believe in anything paranormal, whether you want to or not. Like us, we weren't looking for it, it found us. And so when people fake it with the amount of technology that's out there, it just makes everything so much that more unbelievable.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Well, that's yeah, and that's the thing. There's that. Well, like we say, out of the both of us, there, I'm more the skeptic
Hmm.
than you are there, and I can try and find different things
I
why
have a
it.
great channel for you. I can't remember the name. I found it while I was seeing what was out there, if there was anything new and exciting that I might have seen. And
Mhm.
it's two guys that do special movie effects and are experts in that field. And they
Yeah.
took a look at viral video clips of cryptids, and they were calling it, what were they calling it? Crypt did or crypt don't. And they actually debunked quite a few
Hmm.
of these viral videos that we've been seeing out there lately. And I thought you'd like this because it would go along right up your alley with being a skeptic and then having the knowledge. And when they pointed out what they did, it was pretty irrefutable that, yeah, there's a big possibility the videos they were reviewing were faked, including the Dobby like little creature that was walking down the driveway caught on the doorbell cam.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a really sort of an interesting sort of point there because they know everybody wants to become famous, right? So
Mm-hmm.
and doing things. So
Hi, Invisible Tracker.
hey, there you go. Hey, we'll give you a
Welcome.
little spooky. Yeah, there you are. Hey, welcome to the show. But that's the thing is that with technology there now is that you can add things so much as just by just changing things up so quickly, and you can add things in and
These
take
guys show
things
you how to
out.
do it. They show you how to
Yeah.
do it. Like they look at the video. And for those that may not have seen it, it went viral. It's got over 10 million views. And it looks like this little Dobby creature doing the chicken dance, walking down the driveway caught on the doorbell cam at nighttime. So it
Hmm.
was actually one of the new, like entertainment or something like that. It was one of these on TV entertainment news channels, and she had a 9-year-old son. The lady that says she caught the entity on camera. So they had the kid put some underwear on his head and do the chicken dance walking down the driveway when it was
Right.
nighttime on the doorbell cam, side by the Dobby creature.
Yeah.
It is irrefutable. It has to be the kid. It has to be the kid. I don't know if he
Uh-huh.
was dressed in something or what. There was no way that it couldn't be the kid when you see it.
That's
Mm-hmm.
pretty crazy. Yeah, because I've seen videos there too. I've watched where they done with uh, drone footage cameras where they've gone in, they've filmed up above, and they've gone in, removed things out of the film,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes quite a while to do it, but and it looks like it's all natural and stuff
I'll
like
find
that.
the channel name. I didn't want, we weren't here to debunk and fake stuff. We were going to talk about weird, strange stuff, but I'll find this channel name because it's a pretty cool channel. I didn't
Hmm.
watch their whole thing, but when I was looking to see, was there any new sightings of cryptids? Like, is there anything new and, gone out that's sort of gone viral? And these guys came up and I thought, oh, this will be right up Dell's alley, but let's see what they got to say. Cause some guys they're kind of idiots. Like they're not going to go in with an open mind. Everything's fake. I don't get the feeling from these guys of that. Like, and then they show you how to recreate it and they explain to you why they believe it's fake. And
Hmm.
I had to, you know what? And I'm more of a believer than you are, and I am. And I have to agree with these guys. There it is. It's called Corridor Crew. VFX artists debunk paranormal creatures. That's the video I saw. It's got
Hmm.
1.2 million views, and it wasn't done that long ago. And you guys take a look, see what you think. But I think they were fair, and especially when they show you how it can be recreated with special effects. I have to agree with them.
Hmm. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you remember we talked about this one before about this guy who made the little fairies and goblins there,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
the guy that debunked him
Mm-hmm.
went through there. He was actually pretty nice about
He
it,
was really kind, actually.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
he says, you know what? Some people need to want to believe about this stuff there, but he showed when he went through and scoping it out there about the shadows and everything like
Well,
that,
the
and about
guy's a
how
3D digital effects person. That's not his
right,
real name he uses or anything. And then the guy
yeah,
went through and showed you where the 3D was put in, where it was done okay, and where it was done very poorly done. Some of the stuff we saw, even us not having a trained eye in that area could see,
yeah,
that's got to be fake. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was just amazing. Oh, it's just like it looked actually pretty good, but you can see how some people could get really fooled about this really quickly
Mm-hmm.
there if you don't take a discerning eye. I guess it would be the thing there to the
So, what did you
process.
find in your research, though? Because I just didn't find fake stuff. I found some interesting stuff, but I know we don't confer before we do the show together, even though we live in the same house. He does his thing, I do mine, and then we talk about it on the show. But I know you were watching a few things that I overheard a little bit. It sounded pretty interesting.
Yeah, I was just looking back at different cryptid episodes that had happened over North America, and well, you have Ogopogo, which is out in BC. Then you have the Lake
British
Champlain
Columbia
monster,
for people that don't know what BC is.
the Lake Champlain monster Champy, which is just like all three, like Loch Ness out in Loch Ness, right? So you have those things, and so those three, um, I guess you'd call them lake monsters, which are supposed to be like a what is that, a paleo paleosaurus or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have
Paleodyphysis or something. I don't know. They
yeah.
they they think that's what it may be. Yes.
hmm Then you have this other part there of stories. Well, besides the part of Sasquatch that people have seen, or some sort of giant being out in the bush, or a little person out in the bush, because we've talked about that many times there. But there's also been a part about dog men that are sort of half dog, half man or woman, whatever, dog person. And this is actually a story, and we talked about this 3 years ago. And too bad
Yeah, but we got new viewers and stuff, so let's just
right.
start it like we're starting from the beginning.
And I remember this story, and I was trying to find this before we came on here to get into this part. There is that the Library of Alexandria, before it was burnt down, is that there was a host to many interesting features in there, and features and creatures. And they had mentioned that they had flying carpets, and they had dogmen that were in there, because the library was actually
The
huge.
dog humanoid populations,
Correct.
basically, is
That
what they
was
meant.
in
Yeah.
there. And this goes into the part of Genghis Khan time
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And the reason Genghis Khan had gone to attack there was because of these. He had just a military with horses, but if he was have to go against a population, or a regiment of dog hybrid people and magic carpets that could move faster over the desert areas and stuff like that, and over the terrain. This would be a huge problem for him for his conquest of taking over that side of the world. But there is also the part up in the the Northwest Territories here. Native tribes and cultures up there have said that they have conversed with a dog cryptid human being. And I was trying to find the word. I'd written it down here. I can't find exactly where it was.
Okay, well,
Things
while
like
you're looking, I was
cephalinoid,
going to say you
but
had some freaky weird shadow over what would be, I think, probably your left shoulder where Hey You usually is. That's why I was looking kind of
he's
strange.
still here.
No, no, no. It was just behind your lovely blue braid there, Delta.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of looking while you were talking. And I
hmm
have to look back at that after and see what that was.
hmm
Hmm.
Well, it's Halloween month, so there's gonna be
The
many
veil is
different things that are
thinner,
going on.
the thinnest, I believe, pretty close.
Yes,
Hmm.
but so we got to figure about what would we say about for cryptids that we have the Mothman. We have we have also those the shapeshifters. We have well, there's so many that are around here, and we've talked about them on this network there many times
When you
there.
say
So
around here, do you mean locally? Because we forgot to tell people we live in Canada, we live in Ontario.
and
Or do you mean just sort of throughout this time
oh,
period is what you're
oh
talking
well
about?
on this channel, but what would you figure is that your most interesting one is there, Laura?
Hmm. Well, I have a problem with cryptids. And my problem is why is it always potato quality when you see a video of supposedly catching, like it's been done with a potato cam for people to hear potato quality. I've yet to see something clear. And then the other thing is, and I have to go with you with this. Maybe I've lived with you too long. Your camera just happens to be pointing at the exact perfect point or set up at the exact perfect point to catch it. that's a little suspect. Like even where we lived, in the home that we lived in that was so haunted, yes, we did have cameras set up where the most active activity was, but it didn't mean that that was going to catch activity. Like it could happen in a variety of different places. So there's that. The other thing is, um, how do these things manifest? That's my problem, because you look at, it's not really a cryptid, but you look at Slender Man. Okay,
Yep.
that was a creepy pasta story made up, but because so many people, it almost went viral, and people are seeing it. People supposedly are taking pictures of it. People are experiencing this. So is it what we would call a tulpa? Is it a collective belief? Like you said, the Mothman, or we've got the New
Hmm.
Jersey Devil, or we've got in, South America, or even in Latin America, we see the chupacabra. We see certain things in different parts of the world. Like every time you see something scary, it's from Japan, or that area, Korea, bits of China. That, what does it always seem to look like? A woman from The Ring. In Latino history, you've got
Yeah.
La Llorona. Now I'm getting into paranormal, not cryptid, but my whole point with cryptids is it just seems like I understand and I'm willing to entertain that they're interdimensional. But to me, somebody had, like, for example, Bigfoot, or otherwise known as Sasquatch. There's a variety of names, the Yeti, depending on where it's, the swamp ape, wherever, depending on where you live.
Yes, the hairy man. Yeah.
So somebody had to have gotten the body of, like, have shot something. Now we follow one channel that they write in, they say that they have shot Bigfoots and killed them, and that the FBI or subsection of whatever that may be, secret police organization, shows up and steals, takes them away. I've seen so many stories about giants. That's my big thing. Like the one during the Gulf War, that there were a bunch of, I think it was Green Berets, that all told the same story. Like there's all these things that's so hidden, these large
Yes.
skeletons. You know what I mean? Like there's just not enough. Like, am I willing to be open to it? Yes. But I also, why has nobody gotten better evidence? That's my point. And then Invisible Tracker wants to know, do you have a nickname? I guess they're asking you. If you're asking me, I'm Lore, Lor. And who are you, Delta tonight, or the Del?
On just the Dell.
The
It's,
Del. Okay.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this a part that I was looking at, and you're right about that, is about the giants, right? And there was a whole bunch of news reports and everything in the early 1900s, late 1800s into the 1900s and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. News reports of finding these mounds that had uh, giant, over 7 foot to 12 foot long.
Some
Uh,
bigger than that, I found in my
yeah, well,
research.
I think
Mm-hmm.
there's been up to like 38 feet that has been
Yeah.
found there, yeah, throughout Ireland, well, through
Middle
that
East too.
area,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Saudi Arabia and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
but through just North America and also in South America, and it leaves a question to, um, how did these huge giant structures be built that people inhabited, and especially
Mm-hmm.
when you figure you don't build a door that's bigger than what you need, right? You don't build a
Well,
door
it's a
that's
waste of materials, energy,
right,
resources. We could go
right.
on and on and on.
You got to figure, like, even up here in a cold climate that we get during the winter time, you don't want to have a door
Plus, you got to
that's
be able to open it.
16 feet tall.
Yeah,
Yes.
you don't need a 16-foot tall door. Like, how do you even open and close it? So they said, yes, hello, reason. I asked you, sounded as if I knew you forever. I'm glad to meet you, Laura Lee. Well, this is actually Dell's show, but nice to meet you. And if just so you know, I am Dell's wife. Right, Dell?
You bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're glad to have you here, but I'm happily coupled up with this guy, just so you know, but we're glad to have you here. If you want to talk paranormal, we're glad to have you here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Anyways, back to the door.
yes, and there's been a lot of things that this is, I find this so amazing, and it's stuff just to ponder and think about.
Mm-hmm.
And is that, why were things built with such huge? entrance ways, and there's a part about
Never
okay,
mind the
Grandy.
angles. Like, you know what? I was on the Syracuse's show that's on Monday nights after mine, the Horsefly Chronicles. We didn't know what we were going to talk about. We started talking about some of this stuff. And we were saying, like Stonehenge and a lot of the way these are set up, they match like exactly where the constellations are set up. And it didn't seem that they would have had the tools or the manpower. And, even the explanations that were supposedly given, there is no way. Actually, Invisible Tracker said maybe time travelers, something to think about.
Hmm. Well, there's a part that was talked about because Tesla talked about there that
Mm-hmm.
everything moves with frequency modulation, harmonics, and energy, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
says, and then he talked about 3, 6, and 9,
Yeah.
and stuff is that. Then you look at the part there at Roslyn Chapel where there's different um, frequency modulation notes that are built into the chapel that go around there and
Into the
harmonics.
architecture.
Yes, and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Some of them had been missing, and some were sort of repaired, but they don't have the originals left there. So this was one of the documentaries I watched there earlier this week. There about that maybe the previous civilization before the flood
Mm-hmm.
had more information on this frequency harmonics and how to use energy differently than we have now. Because you got to figure if see this comes into a weird sort of a conversation. There is that if you go through what the Bible has there is that it's Noah and his family, and then the
Mm-hmm.
one son runs off, and somehow he runs off and he creates a whole new civilization. But
Yeah,
as you
we've had this conversation off air. Where did all the women come from?
right, exactly. But
Yeah.
every continent seems to have or civilization seems to have their own flood story.
Yeah, you're reading my mind because I was going to say, I have to think that there probably was a great flood. Because this is what we got into. I just want to add really quickly. And I think it's sort of where we've talked about before on air and off and is it time travel too? I mean, you can throw all that in the mix, but I'm starting to believe that we've been a civilized civilization many times before, and for whatever reason, natural disaster, it's wiped it out. And we don't always hear what real history is either. So how do we learn from our mistakes? We seem to keep
Mhm.
repeating the same mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But it seems to be it's when you look at these old ancient structures, like there's
Mm-hmm.
we see it's really sort of funny in a way is that when we think about when we say pyramids, we think Egypt, right?
They're
But they're
everywhere.
but yeah, they're in every single continent, almost in every
They're on
single country,
Mars. There's pictures.
right? But it's funny that like even in South America, North
Mm-hmm.
America, that, like even right here in our own,
China. Mm-hmm.
yep, China, yep, India, yep, everywhere these pyramids, and they all have depicted stone impressions on them of different creatures that were sort of around there. And that's where I
Mm-hmm.
think there's part of these hybrid creatures, these like if you look at even well, if let's go to the easy one first. We'll go to Egypt, and you have like things like Thoth, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got the ibis uh, head, right, with the human body.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have other ones that have like the dog head with the human body, right? These sort of different little things that are around there,
Mm-hmm.
and that was sort of the one that's sort of been the most sort of pictographed, I guess, in a
Right.
way.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing. But when you go and you look at other cultures in the other times, like in South America or in China, or
Mm-hmm.
or in through the Philippines and stuff like that, they have similar things with a different name.
Well, they do, but with even angels are mentioned in every single religion, every single text all around the world. They were called different things, but when you break it down, they're all talking basically about the same thing. And it's not just angels. That was just an example. There's many things. Then I think about, in one of these civilizations, if we did have it, what if these cryptids that we're seeing nowadays, where are they coming from? Are they potentially, maybe they're time travelers, maybe they're interdimensional? Because, giants, like then you hear the story of the Nephilim or
Hmm.
Nephilim, depends how you want to call it. Where did they come from? Why are they being hidden? I have a good friend that lives in Sardinia, and on the little island off of Italy, and we've watched documentaries where there are giant tombs there, and now they're completely cut off to the public. You can't go there anymore. That came right from her. Dogmen. We just talked about that there's supposedly a documented species of, whether it's a hybrid human or what,
Hmm.
that existed. Bigfoot. Why are we not finding them? And like I've seen, now again, can I verify it's real? No, I wasn't there, but on camera, where it's this potato quality video, where kind of really, really shaky and blurry. Now, is this something they're capable of doing to make the picture look this way? Because then they just suddenly disappear. Like, there's
Hmm.
too many questions I've got about this stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's that's what that now this is where it comes into the whole part about it says, okay, you got to prove things through video, but we've talked about this already at the beginning of this,
Deep
is that
fakes.
there's too many fake videos out there, and with movie magic software, you can create something. Because you remember this one there we watched about that dire wolf,
Hmm.
that huge, like the guy's out there along the side, and his dog goes out, and all of a sudden this huge wolf
Yeah.
just jumps up,
Yeah.
and it's like.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, is what we saw also too on our camera that was just a CCTV
We
camera.
both have seen different versions of this creature you're going to mention.
Yes, and we saw that walk in front of the house there, right in
Well, we
front of
got
the
to tell them what
car.
it is. I didn't want to cut your story off what we saw, but you want to tell
Yeah, well,
them?
it wasn't a dog, that's for sure, and it
Mm-mm.
wasn't a deer. It wasn't a moose.
It was a wolf, a
Yeah,
huge, and we've especially you've seen wolves. You've worked
yeah.
out in rural bush type areas and
Hmm.
prospecting and stuff. You know what wolves look like up close. I've only seen them in zoos and stuff. The things I've seen a silver one on my own while I was talking on the phone with someone, and we both saw it on our security camera, the black one. Like, how big would
Hmm.
you I guess give the estimate about how big, but this was no dog, no Great Dane, and no timber wolf, any kind of wolf that we've ever seen.
Yeah, well, it covered over. Well, you got a four-door sedan, and from the back butt, from the front of the hood to the nose at the back of the door on the passenger door.
Hmm.
That's how long it was. So I'm like, oh, like that was like
That's not
huge.
including the tail. That's just the
Yeah,
body.
yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Yeah. So like, yeah, never seen anything like that so big. That was just shocking there. But
Hmm.
yeah, and like you said, I said I've worked in the bush. I've seen a lot of different animals, seen a lot of different things. I've heard a lot of different noises out there. Haven't seen a Bigfoot yet. I've heard lynxes scream, and that is the most eeriest thing in the world.
Hmm.
If you've ever anybody's ever heard that, there you can actually go in. Anybody wants to look to go onto YouTube there after the show and put up two lynxes talking to each other, and it
Hmm.
is the most haunting.
Horrific,
Oh
evil,
my, yeah,
eerie.
and if you're not aware of this stuff and you were out in camping and out there going, "What is this?" This is there must be something out here. That
Well, if
is,
you've never camped, well, okay, like we know this from your camp, but if you've never camped and been out in the wilderness with no civilization around and it's not a full moon, I don't think I've ever seen anything so black. You can't even see your hand in front of your face. So when you start hearing something like that, you're in the middle of BF nowhere, and especially if you're by yourself, holy crap. Oh, we
mm-hmm,
got to get rid of this person here. Sorry, dude, you're not welcome here. Didn't mean to highlight them. Block them. Sorry. And then we'll
yeah,
unhighlight that. Highlight that. Good, they're blocked. Sorry, you might
yeah,
have to block them too, but they're blocked. Hmm.
yep. No,
Sorry
it's
about that,
just,
guys.
yep, it's just, yeah, amazing. Like, it's when like what was the one there I'd seen there? It was actually in a movie, a bloodhound. And when you hear that thing moan, and when you hear things like that, you hear these things, and you're like, okay, because you don't figure animals, you figure a dog goes woof woof woof, right? Or a cat meow meow meow, but you
Oh
never hear
no.
you can hear it, and
Yeah.
you and then if you had never been out camping or in the bush or out somewhere before there, and you start hearing these sounds late at night because your mind
Oh
uh,
yeah. Already on edge.
is already it conjures up so many different things because of uh, what could be out there because you can't see, right? And this comes to the story that we were talking about back before, is that a lot of stories about keeping young kids in the house at nighttime so they don't go run in the bush because there was wolves out in the bush. There's a whole thing about Little Red Riding Hood
Hmm.
and stuff like that. So you
Hmm.
would tell kids these scary stories of weird creatures in the night, right? Vampires, uh,
Okay,
uh,
so let's talk about vampires. So because I do believe in things. I'm not trying to go all conspiracy theory, but I do believe in predictive programming, as well as the fact that when something has existed for as long as it has, with the legend, the lore, the fairy tale, whatever it may be, for this many centuries, there has to be something to it for it to continue to exist from generation to generation to generation.
mhm.
Because if it didn't, it would just die out. Like you said, these stories were originally created to keep children safe, that they wouldn't go off into the bush or they wouldn't go wherever. They still exist. We see movies, we see all kinds of stuff. And I know people that claim to be part of the vampire community. I'm not saying they are or they aren't, but are they just humans pretending to be vampires? Do vampires exist? Like, why does that story still exist? Like, why is it still there?
Yep, that's well, the,
Werewolves.
well, exactly. Well, there's a part there is that I think this is just my speculation on this, is that
Hmm.
well, it's an easy topic and there's an easy part to go through there, but like when they were talking about Vlad the Impaler, right? And that's supposed to be the very first Dracula,
Oh, I have a whole story for you on that. I'm going to direct people to when you're done saying what you're going to say.
right? But the part there, and then there's another one about this queen that took baths in virgin blood, right? And that was
Didn't mean she was a vampire.
right. But
Yeah.
but it's just there's a whole part out of this, and you got to figure is that blood, right, is the life
It's life.
force.
Yeah.
It is life for you. Without blood, you're not living, right? So
Hmm.
it brings all the oxygen through you to give to your muscles and stuff, and your so you can
I think you
function.
made your point. You're not going to live if you don't have blood. But
Right.
okay, so for example, Vlad the Impaler. I'm going to add this very quickly.
Yeah.
There's a channel I saw on Stop 5, and again, he never tells you what to think. And some of the stuff I was seeing, I was like, "Holy crap!" I am still on the fence because I'm not sure if this guy is faking this or not. Except either he deserves an Oscar for his reactions on camera, but this has been going on for years, and he's been documenting this. He's over in the UK. His channel's called Really Haunted. But some of the stuff that he catches on camera is very suspect, including that he has. There's a reason why I'm telling you this with Vlad the Impaler. He has Alexa, and the spirit supposedly will connect with Alexa and speak to him through that. He'll film it. He'll share it. He's got all the bells and whistles and equipment. The whole house is wired up because he's been going this through for years. But every time this thing seems to communicate, it keeps claiming, because he says this all started when him and his wife, they were into the paranormal. They used to run tours called Really Haunted. I guess they went on a vacation over in Romania, and they went to visit Vlad the Impaler's castle, supposedly. They
Hmm.
went to the gift shop. He didn't make this clear. This took really digging and watching quite a few of his videos to find the whole story out. Because he said, he kept saying, I took a piece of the castle. And I was like, why would you do that? he didn't take a piece of the castle. The gift shop had them made into keychains, right? So he bought it, and when he brought it home, all heck broke loose. And he's got some pretty compelling videos. You see what you think if you go over there and watch it. His name's Lee, and his wife's name is Stacy. Every time he tries to communicate with this spirit, he's now figured out that he believes it's attached to himself. So it's taken an interesting turn. I haven't watched the latest video. He's got a picture of an outline of a body that looks like a shadow person. This thing is quite malevolent. I have seen things happen on camera. Again, could he have
Mm-hmm.
faked it? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But this thing keeps saying it's Vlad the Impaler. Vlad, I'm Vlad, I am Dragon, keeps saying. Laughs at him through the Alexa, tee-hee, tee-hee, tee-hee. But my whole point is, he keeps saying, what do you want? I want my wife back. You took her. You killed her. And he says much worse things. And he's apparently, the wife he's referring to is Anastasia or Anastasia. Well, Lee's wife's name is Stacy. Is this real? Is it not? I don't know. But my whole point is, and I don't even think Lee believes the spirit that its name is Vlad the Impaler. But my whole point is, it still exists, this legend and lore. Why does it? It's not just vampires. Like, we're talking werewolves. We're talking monsters of all kind. Like, it doesn't matter whether it's TV, whether it's movies, whether it's horror, whether it's even before this medium existed. Like I'm saying, there has to be some kernel of truth to some of it for some reason for it still to exist, I think.
What did I watch there today? I watched Lesbian Vampire Killers.
Is that what you were watching? I was trying to figure out. I kept coming in out going, I know he's watched this movie. I don't want to watch this. This is ridiculous. But yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah. And that's I got James Corden there from the talk show thing that's in there.
Yeah, he was in that. Yes.
Yes, with the sword, the COCK sword, and that's it.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was actually a pretty funny movie.
Yeah, and then at the end there, you get the gay werewolf that's howling at the moon at the end in stiletto boots. But that's going on this whole Halloween topic there. But it's just
okay. So what do you think is real then? If we're going to talk about Halloween and we're making spooky, scary things, you asked me what was the worst other thing. I thought I didn't really get into it. I got into more about what my belief was, but what parts I already know some of the things you may say that you may give a little bit of credence to that could potentially be real, but what's your thoughts for the audience? Like, what do you think could possibly be out there or exist that may have the potentiality for being real?
Well, living up here in northern Ontario and working in the bush that I did before and stuff like that, we have a pretty good idea of a lot of animals. There's a lot of hunting that goes on, and there's a lot of things out there. But the biggest one that I've seen is people have seen that are hunters that know what different wildlife is, big and small, and they've all saw something that wasn't anything that they would recognize that they could shoot it. Because as being a hunter, you don't fire your gun at something unless you know where
exactly what it is. Yeah,
what the bullet's going to travel through and where the end point is in case you miss, right? Because the ricochets, anything like that, right? And you want to go
responsible and experienced.
Correct. Yes, and there's been too many stories about hunters. We used to watch that show there, How to Hunt and stuff.
That's the one I was thinking about, with the people writing in about Bigfoot and saying that they've accidentally killed one or they've done something, and then, but where's the body? Where's it gone?
Yeah, well, there's a point to that there too. That's why I'd asked, because I got a couple of friends that are law enforcement there, and I was asking them. It says, is there a number that you phone when you have something that you can't explain? And because this came up on his show there as well, is that people hit something that was in their car, right? They were gonna. We'll just say it was a Sasquatch or a cryptid, and
A hairy cryptid with
correct,
big feet
yes,
and
it
big.
was something that it wasn't a dog, wasn't a bear, wasn't a
Hmm.
moose, wasn't human, but it was something different. And the police came and they phoned, and right away, uh, truck shows up there, boom, it's hauled away and gone, right? Do not talk about this. This has never happened. But okay, replace your vehicle, blah blah blah, right? And that's been a sort of a common thing that sort of has sort of happened with a lot of these weird disturbances. Like you can even say with the UFOs that
Crashes.
happened at Eagle Lake there in Manitoba. The U.S. military was right there, right, blocked off everything, cleared off everything, and removed everything that was there. But people had seen what was happening, and and it was just gone, right? So that's what you have to sort of wonder about some of these sort of experiences. But also, you have to look at other parts. There is that if you remember that Asian girl that was running in, I think it was around marathon, and
Hmm.
uh, and she just also they thought it was actually like a murder thing, but it was actually that she was running in the I guess the park lanes and got taken by a mountain cat, like a mountain
No,
lion.
where she was running, no, where we live is in Thunder Bay. So we're about 35, 40 minutes away from the Minnesota border. And right, that's where she was running. There is a provincial park right before the border crossing. And she was running in that area. I remember this case quite specifically. Her name was Christine or Christina. And they've never found her. Now they have guessed that a mountain lion got her if we're talking about
Mhm.
the same girl.
It might be the same one. It was around marathon though, but
No, the
that's
one that this happened that she was missing, she went out running. She was out with, I think, one or two girlfriends. They were out camping in this provincial park and she went missing. She's
yeah.
never been found, ever.
That's this is a different one than yeah.
Hmm.
That's different than the one I was talking about. But there's a part that you don't understand. People don't understand that some animals that are out there, like for a long time they said there was no mountain lions or mountain lion is the same thing as a cougar,
Hmm.
just that or a black panther. It's the same sort of cat. It's like
Okay, so what does this have to do with cryptids, though?
but well, I'm just saying is that when there's missing people and missing story and stuff like that, is that there is real parts of animals that are out there that do take people. That's what the part that was
But
out there.
there's usually some signs and evidence. You know that, Dal.
Sometimes there is, yeah, yeah,
I find it very hard to believe that if an animal ambushes somebody that's big enough as a predator to ambush a human being, there has, I don't even care if they jump you from being up in a tree. There's going to be something that even if they knock the body out, you're going to see that it dragged the body, even if it doesn't
yeah.
kill
That's
somebody.
true. Yeah,
Hmm.
and that comes into these weird stories. And we were talking about this about the stuff that there was a lot more stories written back in the early 1900s that would be put in papers and stuff like that. And it was all about people that were going out gold mining
Hmm.
and going out prospecting and that. And there's one that I remember the most there of about a guy that was pulled out of his tent by a Sasquatch and pulled into a cave with a bunch of there was like a I guess a male, a female, and a little Sasquatch, and he was in
Hmm.
there because they grabbed him in a sleeping bag,
Hmm.
and the way he was in there for like 3 days, and the way he got out is that he had still had his knife on him, and he had some chewing tobacco and some
Hmm.
other stuff in his pockets. That's how he was able to survive.
Yeah, weren't they? I remember this story. Were they like going to keep him like a pet or something? Weren't they? Like it
Some
was
yeah,
hard.
it
They
was
never hurt him.
well, he had nothing, and then he was able to get out of the sleeping bag when I guess one of them had left the
Hmm.
cave,
To go
and he
hunt or
got
something.
yeah, and he broke out, and then he ran, and then was able to start a fire with something that he had in his pocket or whatever,
Yeah.
and to keep them at bay. And it's just there's these weird, crazy stories. There's lots
What
of
about the Wendigo? That made me think of this. Now we're almost out of time. I'm not trying to rush you, but we're just getting into the good stuff. Because
yeah.
what about the Wendigo? That's a huge thing. And it seems to be a lot. This is really resurfacing. I'll leave that with people. Take a look. You will see all kinds of paranormal investigators going out there catching some pretty creepy, freaky stuff about Wendigos and
hmm
shapeshifters and all kinds of things lately. It almost seems to be like a real resurgence.
Yeah, and it's not just because it's October coming close to Halloween.
Mm-mm.
This has been happening a lot more uh, with people. Now this goes into this whole part about is it all just fake because more people have cameras and want to be famous and they want their 15 seconds of fame, or are they catching something a little bit more? Like
Or is it like a tulpa? Like I was starting to get into another
yeah,
topic because you've got a collective belief in an area that,
yeah,
again, we go back to Thin Man or Slender Man. That was just a horror story on creepypasta, and now people are seeing, experiencing it, catching it on camera and video because
yeah,
everything's energy, right? And
yeah.
collectively, I think when people put their energy into something, just a
hmm
theory, maybe that's what's creating it.
It could be, but
Hmm.
anyways, we got a minute left here,
I
Lord.
know. It goes by
Okay,
too quick.
no, we blabbered on too much about other stuff instead of
Oh, we
finishing
did, and
about
we
this.
went where the conversation was supposed to go.
That's it.
Yeah.
So tell them where they can find you.
So if you ever want to get a hold of me, maybe I do mentoring. I never mentioned I'm a clairvoyant medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher, mentor, and nurse. Two groups on Facebook, Paranormal University for all things paranormal, and then the Angel Rocker Tribe for many of the esoteric spirituality type things. But if you ever want to book a reading or mentoring or healing sessions, you got a show idea or guest idea, please reach out to me on facebook.com/the Angel Rock. Also, please join me on Monday nights here on UPRN from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'm live here and I always have interesting guests. Sometimes we talk about this. We talk about a whole variety of topics similar to this, what I just mentioned with my groups and what have you. Thanks for having me, Del.
No problem. I got to cut my bangs. They keep on getting into my
Yeah, your
eyes
hair
here.
color, it's looking a little blue.
Yeah.
Delta.
But anyways, yep. So we're right here Thursdays at 7 p.m. here on UPRN, and check us out. Check out the delicious recipe on Facebook if you want, and check out any of the UPRN other guests and that
Or
are
if they
on
have
this
spooky
channel.
stories, you always forget to tell them. Don't forget to mention that where they can send it, Del.
Yes, that's right at the bottom. If you're seeing it there, it's called the delicious stories at gmail.com. If you have any weird tales of strange things that are going on that you've seen in your life in the bush or at home or anything like that, and we'll post them, talk about them. When I get enough of them, we
And
can.
keep your name anonymous if that's what you
That's
ask for.
correct. If that's what you want, exactly. So thanks for everybody for tuning in. You got,
Thanks.
I think you got next there Michael Angley with some Red Pill News.
Hmm.
So check that out there too as well. And everybody else, have a great night, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a good one. See you next week.